Hello.
Well, I think we can go ahead and get started. I'll turn off my little background music here. Thank you so much for joining in today. We've got a good group here, so really appreciate you jumping on and spending some time with us today. My name is Mackenzie. I'm a Curate Success Manager. You've probably seen me in your trainings, meetings, jumping into chat, things like that. And then we've also got Shannon, our Director of Curate Success. So you probably also chatted with Shannon at some point. So we'll be guiding you through our newest features that have been updated and the updated platform over the last month. So super excited to share with you some features that have been released that I'm personally excited about. I know others are probably going to be really excited because you might have been looking for them, things like that. So really glad that you're here. Feel free to jump into the Q&A portion of your Zoom. If you want to ask any questions throughout the call, super open to getting any questions that you might have answered. We'll definitely spend some time, maybe like different points throughout the call, and then at the end to answer those questions. So we'll try to stop and let you ask some questions if you have them at different times within the webinar today. But there is a specific Q&A button on your Zoom screen, so feel free to jump into that for all of your questions. Okay, you'll also be getting a follow-up email with the recording, some different things that might be helpful. So you will be getting a follow-up email from us after the webinar. And also, if you see a feature that you really like as we're talking about it, feel free to let us know. Feel free to jump into chat and just let us know that you're really loving that, you're excited about it. So we'll definitely share that with the rest of our team as well. So I'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to chat about a particular in a proposal within the portals tab. I'm going to chat about some updates there. So if you are following along, feel free to jump into a proposal, and then I'm going to stick in the orders in the portal tab. And you're going to notice over here on the table of contents, there's a lot of different actions and things that you can add on this tab over here. In particular, we're going to click on this Add Content button. So this is going to allow you to really get creative, really configure what you want your proposals to look like. You could add different types of photo arrangements, different containers, all kinds of different things within this tab. And again, I just clicked on Add Content within this table of contents. So I'll click that again. You can see there's an inspiration board. So you've got a full masonry grid. You've got an inspiration board that might have a few less photos there. You've got like a cover inspiration, which is the one that you're seeing on my screen now. So a bunch of really great options that you can add into a proposal to really make it your own, and really just kind of showcase your brand using these different containers. The ones I'm going to talk about that have been newly added is going to be the brilliance and then excellence covers. So I'll go ahead and click add to proposal. It's going to be as easy as clicking add to proposal here. So I'll add brilliance and then I'll also add excellence. So once I add those, they'll show up here at the bottom. And just a side note, you can add as many of these as you'd like. So feel free to really get creative and play around with those. So once you add anything using that add content button, they do show up at the bottom. But what's cool about this table of contents is you can actually grab this little container that you've added and you can drop it to where you want this within the proposal. And you can do this with any of these containers. So I'm just going to grab this and maybe drop it up here underneath my timeline. I'm also going to drag and drop this one to be underneath that. So you can see I'm using this table of contents and I'm dragging and dropping to where I want these different containers living in my proposal. So that really allows you to build out your proposal to look exactly how you want it to. You can also use this table of contents. There are the three dotted icons here where you can hide, remove, name, things like that. So this table of contents is going to be really, really helpful for you. So let's talk about some of these new covers. I'm just going to add some photos here. So it gives you an idea of what they look like. So I'll go ahead and click into this pencil button, and it's going to allow me to open up a space to type what I might want this cover to say. So you could definitely rename this if you'd like, just right here. And you could also add a nice subtitle as well. You do have, it does give you like a guide of where your images are. So top row, middle row, bottom row. So that it's helpful there. So I'll go ahead and click on this select image. It's going to populate my media library. So I will just open up my photo that I want to add. And then maybe I want to like adjust, crop, things like that. So I'll do that. And then I'll work in my middle row of photos and add a couple things there. Okay. Of course, you can adjust crop how you need as well. And then I'll just add a couple things to my bottom row. So as you can see, this cover has been built out. Any kind of options over here, like some of them do show like color palettes and things like that. This one just has the text and photo. So pretty self-explanatory there. I've added that cover. And then if I go down to the next one, I'll just use my pencil button to get creative on this one. You could definitely change up your text, your subtitles. You can show a floral background on this one. If you're coming from our Curate Classic software, these will look familiar depending on your plan level. Let's go ahead and add a logo or just like a smaller photo here. And you can see there is top row and bottom row also. It just kind of spells out what to add and where. So I'm just adding these. And then I'll quickly add a few on the bottom as well. I went with like the retro theme, super into retro and vintage clothes. So this would be my dream wedding one day. Okay, so you can see that I've added the two covers. Pretty easy there. You just click onto the add content and add what you need. But these were the two that have just been added, brilliance and then excellence. So super exciting stuff there. I think there were a couple questions that Shannon has been answering as we go. So thanks for jumping in with some of those questions. Anybody
No
else have anything
problem.
about or anything you want to say, Shannon?
Yeah, I was just going to say that those were really good questions. Both of them were around being on the Curate Classic system and wanting to see these updates in their own account. And so, yeah, if you are still on Curate Classic, we are in the process of migrating your data into the updated system. So we just want to get that scheduled, which it's pretty easy. We'll plan if you reach out to us on the webinar, we'll plan to follow up with you after the call and just find a time that works for you to go through that update with your account. But yeah, it's all of these, all the things that we're talking about today are live.
Mhm.
And with the update, with the migration of your data, then yeah, you would immediately have access to the new updates.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for your questions. Feel free
Mhm.
to keep asking away. The next thing I'm going to cover is I'm going to jump out of a proposal and I am going to click on this main events page here. We're going to chat about the Google Calendar integration quickly. So you're going to find your Google Calendar integration in settings and then under this integrations tab. So this is where I can come down here and I can connect a Google Calendar. So this will allow you to sync your Curate events over onto your Google Calendar of your choosing. So super helpful if you have like a shared team calendar. Your team can view the Google Calendar and it does bring your Curate events over. Now, this is not going to automatically sync those over. You will have to sync them, but we did add a newer feature where you can sync in bulk a bunch of events at one time. So it makes it easy for you. So one way to sync over a bunch of events at one time is if I'm in this actual integrations tab and I click on the settings gear icon, I can actually sync most events. So a bunch of events, it's going to be 600. So depending on how many you might be syncing, you might not be syncing 600, but it does say you can sync up to 600 events per minute. It might, once you do sync, it might just take a minute for it to populate on your Google Calendar. So just kind of keep that in mind. But you could definitely click sync now. And then all of the new and updated events with a start date in in the previous 30 days and onward will be synced over to your Google Calendar. So that's one way to do that. The next way is if you're in your main events page, I will be able to use this check mark and it's going to grab all of my events that are living on this main page that have loaded. If you do have hundreds of events, you will have to kind of scroll down a little bit and make sure those load and then click on the check mark for you to accurately kind of bring over the events that you want. But once I do click on the events that I do want to sync over to Google Calendar, you're going to see this little box appear and then it says more. There's a more option and then I can just click Google Calendar and it's going to sync these events over to my Google Calendar. So then I do have a Google Calendar up here. And this is just one of them that I was working on today that whenever I first started talking about it, it was this Mackenzie's event. And you can notice that the event did sync over from a time frame of 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's because I did have a time frame blocked off as I built out my event. So adding that is really helpful. Some of these events were all over the place. Oopsie, were all over the place. So they did get synced over. Looks like we have a couple in January, but yeah, it's a pretty easy process to sync those over in bulk. And yeah, we've allowed you to grab a bunch of events at one time and do that. I think that's what I'm gonna chat about for now, and then I'll pass it on to Shannon, and she'll chat with you about a few things.
Right, perfect. I know there's a couple of questions left there, Mackenzie, so
Okay.
I will
Yeah, no problem.
let me share my screen and I'll kind of walk us through the next features that we're going to highlight today. Make my screen bigger. There we go. Okay. So that was the features that were kind of inside, kind of a rehearsal of those features that are inside the proposal. Now we're going to jump outside of the proposal and inside the proposal too, so you can kind of see the link there. But we made a couple of updates with when it comes to the prints and as well to shopping lists. So one thing that you may have seen pop up in your account is this game plan tab. So if you're a Curate Classic user, you're probably already familiar with the game plan tab. It's a little bit different than in Curate Classic, but the big benefit of the game plan tab is this is where you can view and edit and work in any of the shopping lists that you have created from within your account. So, and I'm looking at a shopping list. You can go in and like edit titles. I can say Shannon's shopping list, anything that you may need to do. Something that is a little bit different than in Curate Classic is this ability to have multiple shopping lists per event. So you can actually separate it out kind of however you would want to for that event. So say that you're pulling up a shopping list for a specific vendor. You can do that. You can have multiple shopping lists per event. So we do have that game plan tab right here. Additionally, this is where purchase is actually is supposed to be nested, and so it's slated to come pretty soon, where you can choose items to send them over to your supplier through the system. So I'm not going to give away too much there, but just know that that is an upcoming feature, and you're going to see that when it comes right here in the game plan tab. All right. Um, one thing in the shopping list that we're going to look at. So I'm working out of this Julie and David wedding, and I will say that behind all of the beautiful proposals that you see at Curate, Mackenzie is the master behind the curtain there. Mackenzie is really good at creating beautiful proposals. So I'm gonna look at this Julie and David wedding. Now, if I'm on the back end, if I'm looking at my orders, looking at my line items, this is a multifaceted event. The thing that we're going to look at today is the conversion of units. So If you're a florist or if you're working with a lot of like item style things such as stems and bunches and things like that, maybe you don't need this feature as much. So, but this is for anything that would have some sort of units that need to be converted. You know, you may be using something in a very small unit in a recipe, but you need it to scale for you to actually make that purchase. So it's not very helpful if you know that you need 500 tablespoons of something, right? You know, we need to know the bigger quantity of that item. So the way that we're representing that today is with the shrimp cocktails. So one of the appetizers that we have for this event is shrimp cocktails. So if I'm looking at my recipe on the back end here, you know, I've got 50 people or whatever, and I've got a shrimp, and then I've got 1 ounce of cocktail sauce per quantity or whatever. You know, my 50 guests, I need 50 of these items. So I've got those imported in the back end per person, and you can use this. This applies to many different things. So if you're trying to, you know, figure out certain quantities of water, anything like that that you may need. But we're just using cocktail sauce as our kind of our example today. So whenever I put this on the back end, it's going to be multiplied by the 50 because that's what I have in my line item and I still have those connected. And whenever I convert that to a shopping list, that's going to be this one that I built out today. You can see down here, if we're really looking at the shopping list, you can see I had 1 ounce per person, but I needed that multiplied by 50 and it automatically converted that to pounds. So it's just kind of a way to make that process a little bit more streamlined so you're not having to do conversions after you're doing conversions right there in your recipes. And we know it takes a long time to build shopping lists, no matter what industry that you're in. It is very extensive. So we're trying our best to make that as easy and streamlined as possible. So we've recently updated that functionality. So definitely try it out. Let us know what you think, kind of how it goes. We're always interested to have your feedback. All right. Now, one more thing that we're going to look at. So that was the shopping list. The next item that we're going to look at relates to the line item category. So if you are not using categories, you definitely want to get in on that one. So categories are key for a couple of different areas. So whenever you have a category there, that does enable you to use the percentage line item. So you can apply that percentage, it can automatically calculate in the event. I don't have an example right here to kind of show through that one, but categories are key for that one. Another thing that you can use categories for is on the reports, you can see exactly where your revenue is coming from based on the category that you're assigning to that line item. Now, a lot of times people want to get really detailed with categories. Categories, you usually want to stay broad with that. You know, you should have a few major categories that you're working off of. And then you can get more narrow with the tags. Tags are it's that virtual sticky note that just keeps paying off. You know, I love filtering by tags. Don't get me started on tags. I love tags. But that category right there is really important. Now, another place that has recently been released for utilizing those tags is I'm going to go look at this wedding. I've got my Julie and David wedding, and I'm going to view a print for that wedding, right? Now, in our prints, you have known already, you can make a lot of selections about what you want to show or change the type that you're using. But in this case, something that we are changing, I'm actually going to go to my pack list. Say I am going to send something over to my kitchen. You know, I need something to send over to the kitchen. So what you can do now is you can see I've got my planning package, I've got my event decor, I've got my head table items, and then I've got my food, the food that goes into that. I want to narrow it down to only show the food. So I'm going to go into my line items and I am going to filter by the line item category. So for this print, I don't need floral, I don't need planning, and I don't need my rental items. So that just really narrows it down for what items do we have on the print. So that allows you to kind of filter through. And once you have this set up, you've got everything figured out the way that you want it to show. For example, I think I want to turn off the production notes, for example. You can turn those items off. And then remember, you can save that as a custom print type. And so I can say a kitchen sheet because I'm focusing on the food. So that category is a really nice area if you really need to narrow down. Maybe bar items, that might be another one, or floral or rentals, anything that you may be using as that line item category. You can filter that down to make a more effective list to share with your team. All right. I didn't check if we have any questions. Anybody have any questions? Be sure to throw it in the Q&A. We can answer them live or just answer them in the Q&A button. But I'm going to pass it back to Mackenzie, and Mackenzie is going to take us through our feature highlight for this month with some tips and tricks
Mhm.
for um, streamlining that proposal creation process. So,
Thank you. So yeah, I'm going to chat about a monthly feature highlight, which is going to be tips and tricks for creating and sending a proposal super quickly. So I know everybody is super busy, especially like with spring coming up and things and Valentine's Day and things like that. So we want to get those proposals out quickly. So I've been with Curate for about 3 years. So this is how I would use Curate to send out and share those proposals in a really quick way, get things written up in like 15 minutes or less. So I'm going to share some tips with you. The first one would definitely be to think about which templates, which proposal templates that you want to build. So if you haven't already, you might already have some proposal templates built, but these are just going to be pre-built proposals that have information in there that will always be in there that you can duplicate and then use those to build out future events. It just helps save a bunch of time. So think about which templates that you want to use. They could be wedding versus corporate versus birthday parties, things like that. They could be seasonality templates. They could be like color schemes. Yeah, definitely just kind of go crazy with your templates. That's what I would do. And they're just like customer proposals, but you just label them as a template and then treat them as a template. So whenever you would want to make a proposal template, you would just click add new event. And then you would just come up here and label this, wedding template or full wedding template. And then you just kind of you go through and you can definitely keep this whatever date or customer you might want to make. It doesn't really matter because you will be changing that every time you do create an event from that template. But it's just simply creating a new event and then labeling that as a template and then using that event you created as your dedicated one. So definitely start there. I already have one created for Mackenzie's retro wedding template. So I've already gotten one created that I'm going to use today. Another thing and piece of advice that I would give to you is definitely start, if you haven't already, utilize our inquiries. So once you come in here and build out a couple forms, consultation forms, inquiry forms, maybe you put your inquiry form on your website. You'll be able to streamline the inquiry process and get all of your inquiries and new customer inquiries fed through into Curate. So it all stays in one place. So to make a really quick proposal from a template, when a new inquiry comes in, we're just going to say that Mackenzie McCracken has come in and they are going to be filling out a form, and we're going to create a quick proposal from that. I'm just going to quickly fill this out super quickly. So I'm going to be Mackenzie filling out this form that's on your website. Okay. And so then once that submission comes in, I'm just going to go ahead and refresh my screen. I'm going to take you through the proposal creation from start to finish. So I'm going to see this inquiry come through. I'll click on it. I can review the information, maybe make sure it's a good fit. And then what I'm going to do is just click on convert inquiry. So super easy. I can convert this inquiry to a proposal. So I'm going to say, Mackenzie's retro wedding. This is my event name, and this is really important. This is where you're going to copy that template. You're going to duplicate that template here. So whatever you might have labeled it, you could type that in. You can see your list of all of your events, but you can definitely find your templates here. And it is probably important to label your templates that says template so you can easily find it. So we've got the contact name, got the event date, I do love the start and end time. This is because it will show up on your calendar, your Google Calendar, blocked off on this entire time frame. Not required there, but I do love that. And then we have, you can decide if you want to change a different color per event. Maybe all retro weddings are like that mustard color. So now I've created my event and I'm going to go into my workroom, and you can see that all of this information, the photos, all of this detail here, this text is all here because it was created in that template. So I've got my timeline, inspiration board. So all of this is pre-built for me. I don't really have to do anything here besides maybe coming in here, changing up a couple more details, maybe editing the dates here, things like that. So you can come in here and edit what you need for this event. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with what I've built into my template, so I'm not going to make any more changes here. You can see the template did include a contract. It included those tokens here, so it's going to autofill that information. And then you can see that the template I created did also have payment information, things like that. So really, really built out, and I've saved myself a lot of time. In this orders tab, you can see where I have pre-built sections. So cocktail hour, ceremony, reception, and fees. This is all coming from a template. So this one, this line item in particular did pull over. But now I'm going to go ahead and easily fill in these different sections with my pre-saved catalog items. So if I want to go ahead and start adding my line items that I've saved, I'll click on import from catalog. So you can see I've got a ton of different items here, but I've labeled my items in a way that it might be easy for me to type things in and find them. I've also added tags to my items. That gives me a really good idea on how to find things. If you're forgetting maybe what something's called, if there's just a big list here, be sure to add those tags next to those catalog items so you can easily find them as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of my retro cocktail arrangements. I'm just going to add all of these here, add 4 products. And then, okay, there they are. And then all I need to do here is just, I can add a quick description, and I'm just going to change the quantity. So you could say I already have the price in here. I already have like my tax rates in here. So really just about changing up the quantity just on these boxes if you need to. And that's really all I would really need to do here, because these these catalog items are already pre-saved. I've already added photos. I've already added recipes, things like that. So it makes it really easy for me to come in here and just click import from catalog. I'm going to add a couple more items here. So maybe my bouquet. Let's see, I have a filter on. That's why I'm not seeing things. So I'll turn that one off. Let's see. I'm going to use my actual retro tag so I can find all my retro items in an easier way. So I'll click on a bridal bouquet, bridesmaids bouquet, maybe my boutonnieres, corsage, and my backdrop. So I'm going to easily add all of those items onto my ceremony section. And all I need to do is just come in here and decide how many I might need. Everything else is already pre-built. I do feel confident with what I have saved in these saved catalog items. Let's see. Okay. So I feel good about that one. And I'll add a couple more things. Import from catalog. Let's see, my retro items, centerpieces. Going to quickly add some things. So yeah, you can see how easy it is to quickly add from my catalog. Now, if you don't have a fully built catalog yet, that's not a problem at all. You'll be able to go into your past events that you've created. You can save items from your catalog just right here. And you can easily do that by clicking on these 3 dotted icons. And I can save this item to my catalog. So maybe you go into a past event that you really love and you want to save some of those items to your catalog. You can just click that icon and save them right here to your catalog. You can really decide how you want this to be labeled. You can see I labeled it retro, but it could say like different colors. things like that. But yeah, not a big deal if you don't have a full catalog built out yet. You could definitely add that really quickly within a proposal just by saving these items to your catalog. So yeah, I've saved myself a lot of time by using my template, pulling in my pre-saved catalog items, and all I really had to do was change a couple things, but I'm ready to go. So that was really quick for building a proposal, and you could just click share from here on out. But I think I covered everything. Shannon, let me know if there's anything else you wanted to add. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
pretty.
I think that you honestly, I think you hit the major things that we see from customers that have really maximized this process of,
Mhm,
just using something to start from, starting from something, whether it's duplicating a previous event. Everybody knows you've done this event 50 times. Just you can duplicate from an event that you've already done, or
mhm.
using that template that Mackenzie talked about to use as a starting place, and then pulling in those items from your catalog. Very powerful. So that was, I think you did great. Yeah, that's a great explanation. Hmm.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Just gonna continue on with just letting you know about a few upcoming features that you're gonna be looking forward to that I'm super excited about. One of those is gonna be more customization on your inquiry form. So in your inquiries tab, you will be able to go in here and you can change things like fonts, font color, adding background colors to your forms, things like that. It really helps kind of customize and create your form to really be tailored to your business. So I'm really excited about customization on forms. The next thing
Yeah.
that is going to be upcoming soon is going to be associated and works alongside the game plan. So you'll be able to build purchases, which means you can send off wholesale order forms straight to your wholesalers from Curate using your shopping list. So that's going to be purchases. So that is coming very, very soon as well. Really excited about that. We've also got the addition of adding or moving events on the shopping list that you've created. So if I'm in a shopping list here, right now there isn't an easy way to remove or removing events.
Yeah. So in um, that one, I'm sorry, Mackenzie, I should have warned you. That one's not a good one because we don't have multiple events. But
Okay, okay, okay.
if you've created a shopping list with multiple events in there,
I see.
um,
Okay.
and sometimes you made a mistake and you just added the wrong events, or you are squeezing another event into that weekend, and you want to integrate that into the same shopping list. That's one
Mhm.
of the capabilities that we're working on right now.
Yes,
Is that
perfect. Thank
ability
you.
to add or remove events into your shopping list.
Perfect. That's
Mhm.
awesome. We've also are going to be adding the ability for gratuity and card fees. So whenever you're in your payment sections, you will be able to add your credit card fees. So you can pass those on to your customers if you want in this section. And then also we are going to be adding a place for your customers to leave gratuity. So those are going to be coming very soon as well. The last thing that's I'll be speaking on is you do have options to build out like different custom properties. So these will show up on this like a little event overview page. You can also find them in your settings, but we're going to be able to pull reporting for some of these custom properties. Um, and then yeah, so it's just a good
Yeah.
way to be able to pull reports on some different things that you might
Yeah.
have added.
I actually had a great conversation with somebody on Monday talking about the custom properties. And for her, she's talking about taxes. It's the end of the year, and she's talking about mileage for her events. And she's
Hmm.
taken her hours and hours and
Hmm.
hours to go back and pull mileage for her events so she can report it for her taxes. And for that one, the thing that works for her is to have a custom property and to fill in the mileage on the event at the time of the event. So once we get this report done where you can pull in that custom property, she can just pull all of that
Hmm.
in at the same time to see all of that for her taxes. Yeah,
Love
that's
that.
great. That's great, Mackenzie.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll pass it
Well,
back to you, Shannon, if you want to
yeah.
close this out.
Karen asked a question about creating a recipe from the start. So we probably won't be able to fully flesh it out, but I thought I would show just a little bit of for recipes. Um, so there's a couple of different ways that you can go about this one. So if you are in floral, let me find one that is here's a centerpiece actually. So If you're in floral, I can jump on the back end, and here's where I can put that recipe together. Let me move this bar out of the way. Here's where I can put that recipe together to show the different items that may go into that. You can pull from your library, anything that you already have uploaded into your account. And if you've got photos on there, those photos would exist with it as well. And it makes it really easy, the same where you can add that image from the item to the line item. So maybe you need to demonstrate that. So you can add those, make those updates right here in the system. There's a couple of different ways to go about it. Additionally, with kind of what we looked at before was with the shrimp cocktails, if I'm on the back end, you can also put those items here. Something nice that I see a lot of caterers do is they also put the sort of supporting components that they may need for those. So for a florist, that may be a vase, but for a caterer, it may be chafing dishes or tongs or serving platter or anything like that that you may want to include with that item to make sure it's getting onto the truck or it's being sent with that item. You can include those in here in the recipes as well. So I know that's not the full on building out a recipe, but it kind of comes back to uploading your components on the back end or adding those as you use them, and then just pulling those right here into the item. And that kind of filters into the shopping list and into the prints, both of which we looked at earlier today. Yep. Okay. I'm going to see what other questions we may have. Um, Diana asked, when can we customize emails with our logo and colors? For that one, for I don't know that I don't know. I know we have that listed somewhere. I don't know exactly when
Yeah, we
that's
do.
coming, but we can check on that one and just see kind of where that is with the pipeline, some or with our roadmap. Something else that we have, and maybe on my list of things to talk about is yeah, for anything that you may see in the system that you're like, man, we've got all these great things, but I wish it did this. We also have a link where we you can enter any sort of request. So like that one that Diana said, we want to customize our emails with logos and colors. You can enter that one, and it kind of acts as a vote to kind of push that item forward. You know, when we see that people are asking about these things, they want these things, we're working to prioritize those items for our customers. So if that's a desire. So I will share that link. So in that, we're going to send over a follow-up email after probably tomorrow. We'll send a follow-up email that's got the recording and everything. We'll include that link as well. So anytime you see something that you really want, be sure to include that on there. And then that's where, this call is the end result of those items actually being released. Okay. And then Erica, I see we've got a question. Um, Erica, did you have a question?
Oh, sorry, I put my question in the chat. I apologize.
Oh, you did. No, no, that's okay. That's okay. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. We saw a hand raised, so I wanted to make sure. No problem. Okay. So, uh, so to wrap up for today, um, to we another thing that we're doing later this month is we will be doing what we call a profitability webinar. So we're going to have some people joining us. We would love for you to join that webinar, just talking about what are people doing to become more profitable, maybe to attain profitability in 2025. So we're going to be doing a webinar. I think it's January 23rd. It's Wednesday. We're going to be doing that later this month. If you're interested, we're going to be sending out a link where you can sign up for that. We're probably going to have a few people, some more well-known people stopping in, talking about what are they really doing this year to ensure that they are being profitable in their business. So feel free. We'd love for you to join for that. We'll send out a link there. Another sneak peek is one of our goals for this quarter is to build out some certification courses. So if you want to be Curate certified, you're going to see some information about that coming pretty soon. Just making sure that you've got all of these pieces. There's always more in Curate that you can take advantage of. That Curate certification helps make sure that you or your team knows how to use the system that is really the core of your business. Just remember, if you need help in the system, we do have chat. So we do have chat right over here, where you can always reach out to. We do have an AI bot as well. And so you're not always just waiting for us. and that will allow you to search it. It's pretty good actually. We're pretty impressed by how well it's worked out. But we are on the back end as well, trying to help there. So if maybe that doesn't answer your question, we're always here to help. We've got live chat on the back end there. Um, we will share that link for the product board. We will share that link so that you can enter anything that you may be desiring to see for the future. We're going to share that link there. Then we'll send out that recording tomorrow. One question that I had today, so I will point it out today. How do you know when things are being released in the system? Check this news tab right here. We typically do 1 to 2 releases that you will notice a week, and that's got new features on there. So we're doing product updates on a regular basis. So just check that out. See, you just read that to kind of see anything new that may be happening in the system. We try to keep that pretty updated. All right, let me see if I've got anything else that we need to answer. Okay. I think that's it. Thank you guys for your time. We'll be sending out an email tomorrow that's got a couple of those items, and be sure to join us next month for our monthly product review. Sarah just she squeezed in a question. Okay, so Mackenzie's on it. Ninja Mackenzie is on it. But yeah, feel free if you're wanting to schedule a one-on-one, maybe a training in your account or anything like that. The easiest thing is just to reach out and chat and just ask, and we have a link where we can send out to you, or we have regularly scheduled trainings that you can join. There's a lot of opportunity. We try to create a lot of opportunity for people to definitely get training when they need it. But thanks so much for your time. Watch out for that email tomorrow. Feel free to send over any questions. You guys have a wonderful January. See you later.
Thank you.